Hey, welcome to the Thrift Shop. Today we're going to talk about the Sumiko Songbird. Sumiko makes amazing phono cartridges. Songbird was on my wish list for a long time now. Truth be told, I would also like to have the Starling and Blackbird, but they're just out of my price range. The overall look of the new Sumiko Songbird looks just amazing. I have the Sumiko Blue Point number 2, and while it's good, it just doesn't do anything amazing. So I found an open box, high output Songbird and absolutely had to have it. And while I would rather have a low output Songbird, I would certainly take the high output version. It's worth noting that the Songbird and Starling are part of the reference group of cartridges. The Sumiko Songbird comes in a nice wood box. It's a nice touch, and not the simple cardboard packaging. The cartridge is easy to install, but one issue did come up. The connectors on the back are rather small in diameter and tapered. I had to take my existing head shelf connectors and crimp them down so it would work. Really, I thought by this date and age that all phono cartridge connectors would be standardized. Maybe I'm wrong. The Sumiko Songbird high output moving coil has an aluminum cantilever with an elliptical stylus. The output voltage is 2.5 millivolts, so make sure you have a phono preamp that works at this level. I started running this cartridge at 2 grams. It did not have any issues at all with tracking on my Technics SL1500C. I started to listen and I found the sound signature to be totally different than any cartridge that I've ever heard. I think this is very important that if you're interested in this cartridge that you fully understand how this cartridge sounds and if it'll work in your system with the music you enjoy. When I first started listening, I was immediately a bit upset with how it sounded. Coming from the Nagaoka MP-300, listening to rock, hip hop, whatever, when I switched to Songbird, everything changed. The treble was reduced slightly and a bit thin, perhaps rounded off. The bass was not tight and a bit light. Vocals, guitars, they were pulled very far forward in the mix. The overall musical details were rounded off. After a few records, I decided to switch back to the MP-300, and rocking it was. I continued to switch back and forth for over a month, and then I decided I would completely stop using the Nagaoka MP-300 and just listen to the Songbird. And I'm glad that I did that. It took me a while to adjust to the Songbird. I was listening to the Pretty Reckless album, and the female lead singer just led the way like I've never heard before. I found the Soundstage to be probably the widest that I've ever heard. I was just walking around my listening area, not really paying attention. I had something on my mind, I was just thinking, and I was very far outside the width of my speakers, and I heard instruments outside the speakers. First of all, I don't think this normally happens. I don't know what happened, but this thing was throwing sound everywhere. While those comments are there, and you get this kind of soundstage, that's highly dependent upon how the music was recorded and mixed. So don't expect every album to have this wide soundstage. What happened next is I felt like the drum kit was larger than life, almost as if it's the size of your room. And you had to look around to see what drum was being hit, rather than a condensed drum kit, small in the middle between your speakers. It was like the whole wall was the drum kit, if that makes sense. You also got an extreme sense of depth, almost like you can hear the drum hit, make sound, and die off as if it were depth, not just sound and a snap. I literally went through my entire vinyl collection with this cartridge. I wanted to understand where it worked the best and where it didn't. And as many know, you just want to hear your music because you're hearing it differently. At first, I found this cartridge to be best with acoustical and vocal focused albums. I liked it with rock unless the album was mixed with vocals already very far forward. I found this to be true with Van Halen's self-titled album. The Van Halen self-titled album was mixed with the vocals and guitars forward, and it just became shouty and not good in any way. I had to run and turn down the volume as fast as I could after starting to listen. And while I doubt many of you listen to rap, I did put on some good old school rap such as NWA, Jay-Z, and Dr. Dre, The Chronic. I enjoyed the presentation provided, but not the best presentation for rap. The vocals can be too far forward, and the beat is really not as strong. But it is a different way to hear your music. Who should not buy this cartridge? I would say that if your system is already forward with the mid-range, then this will make your music too far forward and shouty. So it's not a good mix for zoo speakers and Class A amplification. In the end, I fell in love with what this cartridge can do, and I respect the performance. I have no idea how Sumiko pulled off something like this. While it might not work with every system or every genre of music, it has its own place in my system. Hey, thanks from the thrift shop. I hope you liked, enjoyed. Please hit subscribe, help the channel grow. Tell your friends. Thanks. Bye.